you have to be a cog in it because that's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one person, I mean, other than Oprah, but even she has a machine. You know what I mean? She's just a machine.
Yeah.
If you wanted to work for Oprah or like Ellen or somebody who's famous that actually helps people, you just become part of her machine. If I were a PA on the Ellen show, even though I'm just like making coffee for people and like handing people paper, I'm part of that larger sense of it, right?
Yeah.
People don't want to do that. They want to be the one who is exciting and winning and whatever. The other half of that is the reason why there's people that you know that have done this big world thinking bullshit is because, and I read this recently, there was a tweet that wrote, I don't know why we have to establish that in emerging writers contests, that those emerging writers should be emerging based on their age. I would rather read a novel written by a 55-year-old woman who just sent her kid to college, even though it's her first one as an emerging writer,
right,
versus having a bunch of 20-year-olds, the only which of whom have to be rich and have financial help to take the time to write a novel.
Yeah.
They need somebody to pay for them, and then it essentially means that the people within that contest have to be rich people. So the only people with the luxury to spend the time on these big world problems in any real way have money already.
Probably more
and
detached.
then their viewpoint is you can solve it with money, which, don't get me wrong, occasionally is the case.
Yeah.
But not really, because you can throw money wherever and it's going to fail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really feel like that's just something that... So between that idea, and I think that's why in your 30s people tend to change it up, because, you know, you realize who the rich kids are who can do whatever they want forever, and you just can't stop that. Like, there's no... They don't compare to the things you've had to do.
Right.
Because you have to do the things like figure out where you're paying rent, or like have a conversation with your landlady where you're like, I know that it's the 20th and we haven't paid you rent yet, but... And like things like, you know... Go to a job where people just yell at you in your face and you go, thank you. Like that's kind of a viewpoint that then is interesting, that doesn't get a lot of like reaction, that people don't look at. People don't say, oh, isn't that awesome? How hard that person worked.
Yeah.
There's this book that was written a couple of years ago when there was this big push in culture about like bootstrapping again. It was like people who were poor that found their way to make money, and there was a few books that got written, and there's this one woman who wrote this book essentially about being paycheck to paycheck and having 3 kids and being a single mom, and it's this dire ass book that's written the way you read gangster novels about like everyone was murdered, where it's like we had $1 for 67 days, like, and you're like, fuck, oh my god. But that is only interesting every once in a while.
Right.
People don't want to deal with that part of the life. They don't want to be like, oh yeah, so that's why in the 30s, the big helping the world people divide between the people who accept being a cog in a machine because it probably pays a little bit of money, and then the people who are going to go live on their dad's yacht for a little while and become a CEO of a company which they will tank. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think and that's one of those things too where it's like, I don't know if anybody really wants to hear the opinion of anybody in their early 20s on anything, genuinely, because like, I mean, and that's when you want to give your opinion the most, I think. You
really do.
That's when you think your opinion is the most valid. I think like when you actually get older and all of a sudden you have like this journey and this wisdom to sort of lend to an opinion, you kind of stop caring about giving it to people. I think like at least that's the way I've been. Is like I was real big about like making sure everybody knew what I thought about everything, and now like as I like get older, I'm just like, what business is it of yours what I think? You know, like just leave me alone. You know, like I get like more and more like libertarian, like out in the woods, just let me do my own thing as I get older, because again, you know, it's like the 23andMe thing. It's like, who sent you? Like, why do you want to know my opinion so bad? Like, what is like what catalog are you putting my opinion into?
So cynicism aside, what'd you find out with the 23andMe?
Oh, so
I'd love to know, but you know, my husband is, you know, very careful about such things.
So my mom's always told me that we had like Cherokee or some kind of Native American in our blood, and I think everybody tells their kids that, or everybody wants to think they have some Native American in
My
their blood.
family said nothing of the sort.
100% European, just across the board. Just the whiteiest whiteys all the way back. And
Which particular whiteys?
like German and Irish.
Huh.
Just the two that got here first and have been hanging out. That's pretty much that's where we're at. And it was one of those things where I was a little disappointed to find that out because I'm still trying to figure out why I can't grow a beard. But I guess it's probably like the super like mountain Scandinavian side of it or whatever that kind of just I don't know. I always attributed it to any like Native American ancestry that I might have had because they don't generally grow the best beards.
Huh.
But like I don't know, yeah, and I can look into my dad's side. I still don't know really what's going on my dad's side. That's all on my mom's side.
But you put your DNA in, right?
No. My mom put.
Oh, she did hers.
Yeah, she did hers.
Oh,
so
okay. Because I was going to say, if you did yours, you'd know what your dad's was. But I see what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, and that's how it leans. So that's what they were telling me, and it was funny because she technically what she did was she did her dad's. So I guess they tracked the lineage.
Is her dad still alive?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Funny sometimes when you think of those kinds of little things.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those things too. Like he's more with us than you'd expect, but like he's just sort of hanging out.
How old is he?
Somewhere in his 70s, but like
70s.
Yeah. He's super with it when I show up. I don't know, like he's there. He's lost a lot of weight recently because he's been like getting up and moving more and stuff. But, like, people on my mom's side of the family are just tough fucking donkeys of people. Like, they just kind of keep moving forward. And I...
Love you, Nay.
Yeah, no, she knows. Like, it's one of those things, like, they're built sturdy, the Houstons. Yeah. And, no, it was funny because, like, my uncle went and did it for him, my mom's brother. And he came back and told him that he was Polish just to mess with him. Because, because that's the sort of, like...
Weird shit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was the kind of thing. Which made me realize, I was like, when is the last time anybody said Polak? You know, like, or even, like, put something against the Polish people in general, you know? And, yeah, no, that, like, ruffled my granddad's feathers for a second before he was just like... Which is, like, to me, honestly, Germany and Poland, fairly interchangeable as far as, like, I don't know much about, like, why white people hate other kinds of white people. Like that's that sort of bigotry that is more just about the line that you stand on, this like which side of what line you stand on of. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like it's the same reason like, you know, you hate the other football team or whatever, you know? It's just this you have to because you have to think what you're a part of is the better thing. And
ooh. I wonder if that's part of the anger thing. Like, cuz if you think about it, so cavemen, like they had to protect their area, so like you're saying, they had to say our team's the best team, you over there by the lake who don't live in this cave, you're the worst team, we hate you, you're against us, we're gonna get the food, you're not gonna get the food. And I wonder if that's sort of our, you know, the mechanism in which we survive is to be all like, fuck you then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah? Well, I'm the best. And that's how you live. Your anger keeps you together. Yeah. I feel like that's the case with so many people in my family that are older that are super angry.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing too, is like, no matter like where you fall on whatever spectrum of hatred towards whatever group, a lot of it... It's a spectrum. It really is. I think everybody's got that tribalistic kind of thing.
It just occurred to me that I'd essentially said that the worst people in the world will be the oldest, which is terrible, but maybe true.
No, that's really what it is. We're just riding out the clock and waiting for them to die, and then like progress happens in a big way. I think like generally.
No, I mean, no, I'm not. I don't even mean. I mean, I know what you're saying as far as like in the U.S. government. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a small swath of them still there, and then after that, it's like the rest of us can be like, okay, can we all just agree that like a lot of that was just bullshit the old people told us to do? But I think to the same idea of what we're talking about, where it's like the anger keeps you alive, the hatred keeps you around longer. I wonder if that's why the older generation that runs stuff is so hateful.
Yeah, I mean, imagine like Strom Thurmond, the guy like who, you know, from South Carolina, that guy filibustered desegregation, for Christ's sake.
Lord.
I mean, and also had several illegitimate mixed-race kids along the way. You know, like, it's one of those things where, like, hatred will just push you forward in a direction that you don't even genuinely in your heart feel that way. You know, like if you ever like stop to think about it, but like anger is really good at just giving you the energy to go do something rash. And I think like that's sort of the thing with the tribalism is no matter where you fall on it, you kind of had to have that in order to like keep moving. Because like if you didn't hate these people when they came to like sack your village or take your resources or do whatever way back when, even like when we were just starting to like farm and look into agriculture, it's you couldn't know that one powerful person over there wasn't going to try and come take the shit that you have. So you kind of like, so when you're raising your kids, you're like, hey, just keep an eye on that motherfucker right there.
Yeah,
because
he's trying to take your shit.
Yeah, when I was a kid, they came and tried to take our shit one time, and then like we've been at odds and we will be forever and ever and ever, and that'll always kind of go down. Like, yeah. I don't know how it sort of expands into like worldwide joking, like with Polish people and like them just being the butt end of like a bunch of blonde jokes over like world round. Like that was always when I would buy those shitty, dirty joke books when I was a kid, it seemed like Polish people were just wide open to being the dumbest people ever.
Well, I wonder if a lot of it came from, different, when people came over to America, the crowd, I always think, like, it's no wonder that America is super crazy and fucked up. The only people who were crazy enough to get on a boat for 3 weeks and go be like, yeah, I'll start a new life, sure, sweet, were people either trying to get away from some shit or were just insane and were like, yeah, that seems cool, and as we know about the black people, or were enslaved to do it.
Yep.
Like, you don't make that choice unless you're super crazy or forced. Like, so it's no wonder that the, like, entire, like, generation after generation of people that live in this country are not super weird, crazy, irrational people from their bloodline to the core.
Yeah.
Or pissed because somebody keeps making them do some shit they don't want to do. Yeah. Like, it's really, it makes total sense where you're like, yeah, that's exactly what sort of society is built out of crazy people and people who were enslaved.
Yeah.
This is what occurs. And we're just sort of like, I don't know, sociologically in a weird moment of it where everything, I kind of enjoy the, like, new enemy, let's say.
Okay. Yeah.
For a while I felt like there was a hotbed for a lot of racial fighting, and I kept thinking to myself that the real true thing that was going on was more class warfare than it was race to race.
Yeah.
But again, based on what I'm talking about, I totally understand why any person whose descendants were anybody on a boat forced to come here would be pissed forever.
Yeah.
I get it. It's fine. Be pissed.
Yeah.
I acknowledge your anger. But the way that the world is working is I've lost my train of thought.
Well, it's one of those things where like everybody's going to have a shitty opinion about the other people again, because it's like, I think I may have brought this up in the past, but you know how like Pepe Le Pew here is French, but in France is Italian?
I did not know that.
That's it. Like, we think French people are rapey, and French people think Italians are rapey, and Italians think Spanish people are rapey. And like in every country that shows up, it's just the person that they think is trying to rape their women.
Sure.
And it's like it's funny that they don't take the insult, that they can look over the insult that we think French people are rapey, because Looney Tunes was such a good thing. Like Looney Tunes was so funny. They're like, well, we want Looney Tunes, but we're not gonna let this one character be French.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I mean,
well, with Looney Tunes, I wonder if a lot of the other jokes were adjusted too. Things like there used to be a lot of crow jokes that were usually about black people. Like there'd be a black Crow character who do something that was very like, oh boy, what's happening right now?
Yeah.
And they can change those kinds of things, or other different kinds of characters that have very specific political intentions.
I was thinking that, you know, like, but like Speedy Gonzalez wasn't really a force